Hi guys, what's up? It's Joel Pitt here, back with another video, and in this video, it'll be for Love Island All-Stars 2026, Series 3, Episode 20. I'll leave a link down below to Episode 19. Of course, there's going to be spoilers. So without further ado, let's go on with it. So, Millie told Lucinda and Sean, laughing in front of others, and then Lucinda was like, I didn't laugh in front of Belle and all this. She forgets quite a lot of stuff, to be honest. Cher pulled Scott. Helena, asked who was on the terrace, because they went to the terrace. And then I think all of them, there was some outside, and they saw them come down, and they were apart, and they just felt a bit guilty, really. Lucinda and Cher spoke. I told her the chat that she had with Scott. Tommy spoke to Curtis and Sean. Said he's going to speak to Kira, sort of end it out, basically, because it's not, he doesn't want to lead her on, really, which is, good. He's being honest, and he won't be true to himself, really. So, yeah, they hugged it out, they had a chat. Belle pulled Lucinda, and then basically saying, what's real or something. Sean went to Lucinda. Belle spoke to some of the other girls about Lucinda being fake. Lucinda went to Curtis and Tommy, talked about the Belle chat. Kyra pulled Curtis. She was like, I've never seen the terrace, should we go there? Kieran, Sammy and Millie, saw them go. And then, was like, go on, lad. And yeah, I think Millie was saying, Kira, she's, very full on. And I think Curtis might like that. Yeah, sweet girl, he said, Kyra, she's very nervous. She fancies him. And they kissed. Curtis asked Scott, if he spoke to Leanne. Leanne needs to speak to Scott as well. And then Millie was like, who wants to do some lip syn? And then she was like, me. And then I don't know if Sammy said yes as well. Jack and Cher spoke. Leanne and Scott spoke more about the Cher chat. Carrington and Helena spoke all about the Belle situation. And then I think Hideaway Helena is coming back because, she was like, oh yeah, let's go to the Hideaway. Connor and Imani spoke. They're both comfortable around each other. They have good eye contact. He held her hand. And then Connor was saying, her lips look good. They kissed. Then there was Spin the Bottle. They were doing Truth or Dare as well. So Helena was up first. She chose Dare. Or, I think they just choose on the card or something, or they just pick a card. So other than your partner, snog the islander you think is the best kiss in the villa, so went for Carrington. Yeaman had a dare. He had to give a lap dance to the islander who gives all the right moves, so went for Whitney. Belle got a truth. Which islander is putting bare minimum in their couple? Well, she said her own, Sean. Curtis got truth. Name one thing your partner has done that has given you the ick. And he was like, got with someone else. And technically, yeah. But, they're just friends now. Millie had truth. Name the islander you think causes the most unnecessary drama in the villa. And went for Scott. And then he was like, unnecessary? What? Tommy got truth. Name an islander you think is waiting for someone better to walk through. Lucinda. Well, yeah, technically, unless it's real, she pretty much has moved on everyone. She's gone for Kieran. Then after, that's not worked out, gone for Shut. Just going round, but who knows. Scott had Dare. Perform your favourite sex position with the islander you think deserves better. So went for Belle. And then Belle was like, oh, I've got no knickers on, by the way. Sean got a dare. Line up the 3 islanders you find most attractive in order of preference and snog them. So went for Lucinda, Belle and Imani. And he snogged Belle as well. And Lucinda was a bit put off as well by that. Just pecked Imani, but yeah, it was a bit, I don't know. Scott had truth. Point to the islander you think could be playing a game. Now, that's the key word, he said. Could. Not playing a game, but the word could. So went for Lucinda, and then it all kicked off there. He whispered, mouthed, I left out so many reasons to Lucinda, and then Sean was like, what are you saying? And then Scott was like, it's nothing to do with you. And then he was just like, oh, don't care. Like, yeah. Kira had to work with Adair. Line up the 3 islanders for your perfect partner, body, face and personality. So went for Curtis, Jack and Yeaman. And then that was it. Then they were like speaking about the challenge after. Lucinda and Sean, they went to the terrace. Scott and Leanne spoke. Kieran and Curtis were talking. He kept laughing. And then, you know, was saying that she's hot and sexy. Then they were talking about, you know, love languages. He likes words of affirmation, touch and feel, gifts. Kira likes touch. Then, like, what kind of gifts? And then he was laughing, like, any little gifts. Any gifts. Scott and Lucinda spoke, talking about the challenge and, you know, being a game player, really. Tommy pulled Sean off Curtis. Lucinda spoke with Millie, Helena and Carrington, and she cried as well. Helena told Belle, you know, she's going to the hideaway, and then the others saw the PJs and then asked what was going on. Carrington said he's never been to the hideaway, like in his series or ever. Sean was in bed on his own. Then we had Kieran sharing bed, Yeaman on his own, Zach on his own, Helena and Carrington, who kissed, Belle and Millie. Then we had Kieran and Lucinda in bed. I don't know if they were like separate. I'm not too sure exactly. I think they were separate. Yeah, but there's probably not enough beds, so yeah, they just have to. I don't know. Sammy and Imani, and then we have Jack and Curtis, Whitney and Connor, Tommy, and then Scott and Leanne in their beds. So yeah, there'd be a recoupling in the next episode. There was like a tomorrow night, and the US Islanders are going to pick first since they're the newest arrivals. On the app, what will tonight's game bring in the garden? There's a poll on it. 40% saying arguments erupting, and then the next majority is 33% all of the above, because the other two, 16% home truths exposed, and then 11% kisses. Millie stays being mum of the villa as a photo. I think you really need to remember where you are and who you're doing it in front of. Just because a girl is upset, no, I get that. Yeah, Cher pulled Scott on the terrace. We are not on the same level. Belle is officially done with Lucinda. There's a video questioning a girl's morals over a guy. How did Belle and Lucinda's chat end? Belle walked off. God forbid a girl lives in a bubble. The way this Lucinda quote will live in my head rent-free for the foreseeable. She said nothing I say is reality. God forbid a girl lives in a bubble, like, let me just be happy. A friendship is completely off the card for Belle and Lucinda as they tell the villa about their chat. Agreeing to disagree, there's a video on that. First kiss for Curtis and Kira. Do you think Scott's head could turn? 52% are saying won't stray from Leanne, and then 48% are saying, you know, heads turning for Cher. First kiss for Connor and Imani. Can we just take a moment for the nails, please? There's a photo of that as well. I'll give Curtis his 10s for that. Name one thing your partner has done that's given you the ick. Get with someone else. Which girl did Tommy choose for the Islander who's waiting for better? It was Lucinda. Your ex chooses to snog you during the challenge. How would you react? 58% saying show them what they're missing and go in for the full snog. And then the next percentage is 25%. 100% refuse to kiss them. Which Islanders' reaction were you during all that drama? And then there was like Curtis, like that, 29%. Kieran, like that, 15%. Leanne with the eyes, 10%. Kira's like angry, 6%. Laughing like Scott, 19%, and then like Millie's like that, 21%. Your reaction to the Scott and Leanne situation was a bit mixed, to be honest. The majority, 36%, I'm with Leanne, it's given triangle. Then 24% side quest, that's bold, and then the rest is both 20%. We've got they're open, so no issue. IMO. And then the other 20%, it's healthy to have a test. They'll come out stronger for it. Have Tommy and Sean made up. Well, 58% are saying made up but won't be besties again. 31% they'll be civil but not friends, and then 11% back to being mates. Then in the morning after, will Scott's side quest put off Leanne? Tap for Amy, India and Sorrel's take on the latest episode. And then a first look, cracks are forming as relationships as the recoupling looms. Belle and Lucinda clear the air over Sean's actions not being fair, and a love triangle is brewing just before a recoupling. But anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.